Hey y'all, I'm John with Garage Gym Revisited, and today we're going to be reviewing the RitFit M1, a complete home gym solution, power rack, and Smith machine. Now, this thing is an absolute beast. Just talking sheer functionality at the beginning, let's go through the rack from front to back. I'll give you a quick tour of everything you can do here, and I'll point out some of the things I like, some of the things that I don't like. So, starting in the front, here at the bottom, you've got your landmine, which swivels around freely so that you can insert the barbell here and get some standing presses or some bent over rows. Obviously, you can adjust the position of the J-hooks and the safety bars here. Both of these operate the same way. You simply pull it out, reinsert it in the front and the back, lock it into place. Once there's some weight on it, those aren't going anywhere. You can add a variety of different cable attachments simply by taking these off of here, sticking them back on. Those pop back into place nicely, and obviously the cables adjust from the top here all the way down to the bottom. The cables themselves work very well. They're nicely designed, they're very smooth. I like the look and the feel and all that. The only complaint I have about the cables here is that in order to adjust them, you have to unscrew this bolt a decent amount until it kind of pops out of the hole here, and then you can move it, and then you have to kind of start screwing until it finds the hole, and then go all the way back in. As opposed to something as easy as just popping it out and popping it back in. Now, granted, I'm definitely nitpicking here because that's not the end of the world. It certainly is very secure, but I kind of wish that they had some sort of similar setup because these are so easy to just pop on and off and reposition. And really, for most exercises, you're probably not going to sweat an additional 10 to 20 seconds it takes to move this from the top to the bottom. But if you are trying to do like a high intensity interval training or some sort of circuit routine where you want to do, crossovers or flies, top, the middle, bottom, boom, 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 it's going to get a little bit annoying unscrewing this, rescrewing it, unscrewing this one, rescrewing it, get into your exercise, and so on. Again, not a big deal, but wanted to be as comprehensive as possible. At the bottom here, you've got a great little kick plate where you could certainly sit down, lock your feet underneath, and do crunches, but most people will probably use it with the cables here for a variety of rows. Definitely handy to have, and stable enough, big enough for most people's feet. You can definitely fit, even if you've got larger shoes, plenty of your feet under there, or just push down up top. The safety bars are a nice addition. I don't feel comfortable squatting without safety bars. Depending on your surface, you may not want to drop the weight entirely off your back shoulders, or I guess the front if you're doing front squats. But the one thing I don't like about them, and this seems to be common with a lot of racks unfortunately, is these are very short. So if I were to just grab this and pop it into a squat position, you'll notice that I don't have that much room to work with here if I want to be protected by the safety bars. I have to be forward enough to where the bar doesn't hit the J-hook. So I got to step forward a bit from where I rack it so that when I go down, it doesn't hit the J-bar. But then I've really only got from about here, maybe 12 inches, maybe 15, so that I'm safely in the realm where if I needed to drop all the way down, the safety bar would catch it. And so it just means that when I'm doing, this was not in the right position for me to show that off. When I'm doing a squat, it just means that I'm kind of constantly looking left and right to make sure that if I am a little unsure of how well I'm going to be able to handle the next few reps, that I have to constantly keep an idea of where those are. And I just wish that they were maybe 6 inches longer so that I'd have a bit more breathing room when I'm doing squats. Again, not the end of the world, just a minor nitpick. Moving on, we've got the pull-up bar here up top. nicely positioned to where if you move the barbell, you've got enough room, especially if you pull the Smith barbell all the way down to the bottom. You have a variety of hand positions from overhand to underhand to sort of this 45-degree angled underhand. Only nitpick on this is that if you wanted a true neutral hammer grip, the only options you have are over here, and I've got a smaller wingspan than most, but that's just a very wide pull-up. I would have wanted it, you know, more aligned with my shoulders, maybe right here, but certainly happy enough to either do overhand, underhand, or angled. Not the end of the world. Moving on to the Smith machine, you've got this 7-degree slant that keeps the bar, like if you're doing barbell, Smith machine squats, keeps it slightly angled so that as you go down, it kind of tracks your natural body movement. I think that's a very nice touch rather than having them be exactly vertical. And the Smith machine is nice and smooth. No issues there. Racks easily. You've got safety bars that are very easy to maneuver. Even though I was a little annoyed at how long it took these to move, these are the opposite. These are like the easiest safety bars I've ever used. Effortless to be able to move those around. You have your cable weight pulleys right here. You've got 2 pylons on each side so that you can stack a ton of weight on these bad boys. They are nicely positioned here at the bottom, so you've got a low center of gravity. Really adds to the stability of the M1. I don't think I mentioned the band pegs yet, so you can attach a band there to the outside of your barbell here to add some extra resistance. I don't think they have band pegs at the top, so not really able to take weight off, but I think that's less important than being able to add weight in the first place. So that's nice. You have 2 dip handles here, which is very nice. A lot of the machines we've used before do offer dip handles, but often they are either supposed to be put on the very front, and these certainly could, but given how wide the machine is, you're going to be doing dips at this sort of angle, and I really like that these are much more easily removed and then reinserted in a new location, so that you can go from doing a very wide chest focus dip to a more narrow tricep focus dip. So it gives you some great optionality there. And then here at the back, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weight holding pylons that take care of pretty much all the weight that you would be able to use on this machine. And then you do have a series of black metal hooks that come out the back of the RitFit banner here, where you can store all of your accessories. In terms of actually putting this together, it really wasn't that bad. Like most of the power racks I put together, the instruction manual came with very little written instructions. It's really just a series of photos that change from one page to the other, but it was pretty intuitive for how to put this thing together. The photos are large, the manual is very detailed, comes with a complete parts list so you can make sure that nothing got left out. The only thing I would mention is there are a variety of different bolt lengths and shapes, so pay very close attention depending on which step you're on, because you might need a 70mm bolt as opposed to a 90mm, or a square head bolt as opposed to a hex, and not all those bolts are interchangeable. And per usual, about 90% of the effort that goes into building this is actually just screwing in all of the different bolts and tightening the washers and the nuts around them. So if you have a second pair of hands, that would about cut the assembly time in half. And if you have a socket wrench, which I would definitely recommend, or even better, a drill attachment for your socket, that is going to dramatically speed up the process of putting in what must be about 100 different bolts into this bad boy. So with a drill, doing it mostly by myself with the exception of the centerpieces, it took me about 4.5 hours, and I can't say that anything was particularly frustrating or confusing. So overall, not a bad assembly process for something of this size. So to conclude our review of the RitFit M1, this thing really is a complete home gym solution that could allow you to throw away your gym membership and never have to worry about driving to the gym ever again. For a very competitive price point, especially in its range, it's not the cheapest rack you can get, it's not the cheapest RitFit rack, but for all of the functionality it offers, it does a fantastic job of providing those options. Everything is solid, it's sturdy, it's aesthetic. I do love the red with the black and the silver. It'll blend in with anything else you have in your garage gym setup. And compared to a lot of other racks that would be built of a similar material or would offer the same functionality, given the same footprint, it's actually closer to the lower middle tier, where currently on the RitFit website, it's priced at just under $1,000. Again, this is just for the rack itself without the barbell bench plates or the accessory bundle with these extras back here. But even without all that, again, most companies that are going to sell a rack like this would start somewhere around $1,400, going up to several thousand, and that's before all the other accessories as well. So when you think about maybe your average person is paying somewhere between, call it $50 to $100 a month for their gym, you're talking about 18 months, 2 years of a gym membership before this thing is basically paid for itself.